Hi guys, welcome back to Ana Dialogue, the dialogue on analog music reproduction. In this episode, we are going to take a look to 3 types of damping boards. Very effective, highly effective solutions against those darn vibrations. Are you ready? Let's dive in. Okay, boys and girls, or anything you are. As you may recall, I have done a few videos on this topic. Now, first of all, here's a link on the vibrations in general. One of my few videos, so it's kind of naive, I would say. But here's a link. Obviously, you're going to find all the links in the video description. So take a look at that if you just want to know a little bit of the general aspects of this topic, of this issue. But apart from that, today we are going to take a look at these 3 types of boards, which include subtypes, for any kind of weight and component. In fact, as you have seen from the title, we're going to go from $200 all the way up to $4,000, okay? But it's not just a matter of budget, these 3 types. These 3 types, besides budget, also regard mainly the weight, I would say, because that's something paramount that I never highlighted enough in the past. So that's going to be fundamental, because if you do not have the correct board, or also damping feet, okay, even though in this video we're going to focus just on boards, if you do not have the correct weight, obviously corresponding to what you want to dampen, usually it's turntable in most cases, but a lot of people are finding excellent results with various type of preamplifiers, mainly 2 preamplifiers, as you can imagine. So if you have that correlation, they are going to work very well. If not, if your component is too light or too heavy in correspondence with what the board can deal with, you're not going to have any benefits. And that's very important, and a lot of times they're not saying this. Okay, let's start. Okay guys, so for our first budget, our first weight range, we're going to start with a company that I do like a lot, as you probably know from my prior videos, Isoacoustics. And Isoacoustics has done recently a very popular range type of damping boards, which is the Zazen. Here we are. This is the Zazen II. You can also find another one, the Zazen I. As you can see, pretty slick, pretty elegant. I think it looks pretty nice and dense. And this guy, as I said, there are 2 versions. The first one goes, obviously I have to read all the different specs here, goes from 25 pounds, it can go up to 25 pounds, that is 11 kilos, and it goes around $200 or €200, more or less. And this is practically at the bottom, I would say, because it's really hard to find these platforms dealing with such a low type of weight. Unfortunately, the ones I'm presenting today don't go beneath 11, okay? So if you have a component that is like around 5, 6, or 7 kilos, don't get these, okay? Just don't. It's not going to work. Try to go, for example, with something like dampening feet, things like that. We'll do another video in the future. Now we're just going to do boards. In any case, keep that in mind, because I don't want to give you some wrong advice. This is important. If you have instead equipment that has some mass to it, you're in the right place. Okay, so instead, the Zazen II holds 40 pounds, which is more or less 18 kilos. And this costs a little more. It's $230, €230, more or less. And this is easily found on Amazon. I'll put the links here below. Okay, this was our first type. Let's proceed. Our second type, also to keep this video nice and quick and fast and brief, is again Isoacoustics, because I am finding high quality at the right price, is the Delos. Now, I presented the Delos in another video in the past, so I'm not going to show it off because it's packed away. I was using it for other things. Now I'm not, waiting for new components. Here's a link to that video where you can see a little more in detail what all about the Delos, also in the video description. But it's worth saying that it's perfect for this middle range because we're going more or less from 55 pounds, which is more or less 25 kilos, all the way up to 100 pounds, more or less 45 kilos. And it comes, as you may remember, in maple, which is much more hard and better, although a little uglier, or walnut, which I like a little more, nice and brown, but it's softer. Do keep that in mind. And they are using their fantastic isoacoustic feet. That's why I'm recommending the Zazen, but also the Delos. They are different types of feet, obviously. The Delos are using the higher range, the higher quality type. So the Delos really covers a big block, I would say, almost all of the main types of weights and also budget, because we're going more or less from $400 all the way up to $900, all the different types, because there's also different thicknesses, as you will see. Again, it's just easier to go and see that video on the Delos and also the manufacturer website, which I will put here below. Plus, in terms of euro, we're going from 450 euro all the way up to 770 euro, more or less. I know it's a lot of money, but compared to others, trust me, it's a good point. Actually, it's worthwhile. Afterwards, at the end of this survey of these boards, I'll tell you a little bit what I think they are doing to the sound. Okay, I forgot to say this in the beginning. Okay, let's proceed. Okay, for our last section, which deals with extremely heavy components, and it's extremely expensive, I must admit, are the new Kuzma Platis 54 and 65, which the main differences of these two is the dimensions of the board, but also a little bit of the weight. We'll go more in depth in a sec. Here you're seeing a few images of it because I have it underneath my Kuzma turntable, the Stabi R, which I have right here next to me. So I could take it away. It's quite difficult, as you can imagine, but the images I did, I think, reveal pretty much what's happening. And this is I must admit, very, very high quality component. Yes, it does cost an arm and a leg and an eye, but the impact was very, very good, I think. And the good thing is that you can have a lot of different feet. Inside, practically, you have a number of these feet, which are pretty simple actually, but are very effective. And also all the materials are not resonant. It's important because it seems something simple, but also this compound is very, very good, I think. But I want to say something before proceeding. If you just want to get a nice little board of MDF with sorbotane little cones or vibropods with the right type of weight, okay, that's important. Go ahead. That is absolutely a good starting point, okay? For vibropods, a nice little piece of MDF, very dense type of wood, you're already going to have some benefits with just a few dollars. Absolutely. Here we're starting to use a little bit of higher quality stuff for higher quality components. I mean, I think that's reasonable. Okay, let's go back to the Kuzma. So you can put a very variable number of these little feet inside, according also to the models. The more you put, the more weight the board can sustain, clearly. Now, Kuzma declares it goes from 0 all the way up to 120 kilos in the Platis 54, which is 264 pounds. In the Platis 66, from 0 all the way up to 140 kilos, which is 308 pounds. Now, in my opinion, my personal opinion, I think you shouldn't put something of 10 kilos on these, for example, because clearly these must already sustain a minimum type of weight. And since you have to put at least 4, you can't put 3, at least 4, I think, in my opinion, okay, this is not official, you should start putting stuff at least around 60, 80 kilos. So we're talking about really heavy stuff. In fact, some people also put their loudspeakers on these. So, okay, keep in mind all these things. Nevertheless, maybe they work also with very light components. I don't think so, because it's physics. You do have to put some weight in order to have that dampening. Kuzma also published some scientific information showing that there is a reduction all the way up to 3,000 hertz. So I think, in my opinion, I can hear it clearly, and there's also some scientific support, which is something good that very few manufacturers publish, actually. Okay, so the price, very, very high. The Platis 54 goes from 2,500 euro, which goes, it depends in America, $3,500 more or less, while the 65 goes from 3,000 euro, and you're going to find it in America more or less around $4,200. This can clearly change, and it's all that included, as you can imagine, all these. In any case, I'm sure that you can find some discounts at other lower prices, or people who are selling their used one. So always keep an eye out. That's my advice. You know, when we were dealing with these very high prices, it's always a good idea. Clearly, if you have something of 120 kilos, you're not having something a low budget, okay? Clearly. So I think, as I said before, there is a proportion there, an equilibrium. Okay, apart from this, just a few words on why I think, apart from the objective, real, grounded, scientific, solid, I would say, effects that reducing vibrations is always a good idea. Not only for turntables, but also with preamplifiers where we have, for example, tubes. But not only, people are using them also, for example, old CD players and things like that. So it's a good idea. What do I think? What do I feel when I use these? Very simple. The sound it changes. It doesn't become better. It does change. That's quite amazing. We're not talking night and day difference, okay? Absolutely. As I said in the video of the Delos, and I confirm this, the effects 1 out of 10, in my opinion, are around 7, okay? 7 plus, with the Kuzma maybe. And what is the benefits though? The sound just all of a sudden is perfectly into focus, if you understand what I mean. Before, you had the sense a little bit, obviously you do not have a sense, but you understand it as soon as you put it below, underneath your components, especially turntables. Yes, I was looking at a picture that was slightly out of focus. Now everything is precise, the sculpt is there. It has its position in its space, and the space is open, more open than it was before. These are the main benefits that I am perceiving when I use these type of components. Okay guys, I hope this was useful. Please leave your comments, please leave your suggestions for other types of boards. There are hundreds out there, clearly. And what else can I say? Remember that music was born analog.
Well guys, if you're enjoying my videos and you're enjoying my channel, please consider to subscribe by clicking the black and white logo here below. Also, don't forget to click the notification bell so you'll never miss an episode and you will become a true member of the analog community.